would like to introduce our founder and our chairman, Paul Duncanson. He would like to share his unique perspective with the audience in his address. We are at the end of the age of reason and the beginning of the age of modeling and simulation. Here's Paul Duncanson to tell you more.
Let's see. As an old Purdue engineer, I kind of like the engineering mnemonic of KISS. Everybody know KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Because what I've noticed is that when you try to get too clever, the guy you outsmart is usually yourself. So I'm not going to talk about our product. I'm going to try to tell you what we're trying to do with No Magic. What is the purpose of all this? What's the vision? And I do think we're at a nexus point in history. I don't know how many of you have ever, anybody here like the old black and white movies? I grew up on these as a child, and I can remember Cary Grant walking in to the airport with his suitcase, handing it to the lady, taking his wallet out, giving them the money, and walking over and getting on the airplane. Life has got a bit more complex. The old way of doing things don't work anymore. And there was a time, we do go through periods of history. You know, there's kind of prehistory, there's the Greek and then the Roman empires, there's the fall of the Roman Empire and then the Dark Ages. And we have a word that was almost overused before, maybe 10 years ago, was paradigm. Everybody know the word paradigm. But paradigms do matter. And as paradigms change, I keep seeing people put the old carriage in the garage and bringing the horse out and strapping it to their Mercedes and wondering why they're having trouble get up the hill. So it's the simple things. And I've watched this again and again and again. What people don't realize is who does the stupidest things in the world? Smart people. For two reasons. One, dumb people don't do much. And it's just true. And smart people, the smarter you are, the more difficult things you tend to do. You know? So smart people do dumb things. But hopefully they learn from them and go on. And it does matter when there is a nexus point and when history does change. And we're seeing kind of a crazy world today. And it's partly crazy because we don't have the tools to comprehend it. What is the Cameo Suite? What is No Magic about? I view it as three things. One, it's a brain amplifier because we need help. Two, it is a communications device. It's a technical communicator, so we can get messages. And three, it's a data storage. It's the new Library of Alexander, because we need to preserve, as Gary likes to say, the corporate memory. We're very lucky at No Magic. We lose very few employees, despite everybody wants to hire our people. You know, we have people that have been with us from the beginning of the company and really in the first 2 or 3 years after that. We have people in Thailand, since I went over there and started that, live there most of the time now, for 11 years. Many people have been with us pretty much from the beginning. So we have a lot of people. We're lucky in that respect. But one of our biggest problems, I think, that Gary encounters in our sales staff is by the time somebody at a company gets to know us, they're somewhere else. You know, things are moving very rapidly. And the old ways of doing it, you can't be Aristotle, you can't be Thomas Jefferson, sit home, think grand thoughts, and come up with the right solution. The right solution has probably moved on by the time you do that. So we need things. Years ago, I worked for IBM, and IBM was changing. And I tell you true, when I went to IBM, I think it was the best run company I ever saw. They're one of our big competitors now. The joke inside IBM at the time was how much space does it take to bury IBM? Anybody heard that joke? I think it was an IBM Insider joke. And the answer was acres, just acres. Did any of you get the reason for that? The CEO of IBM at the time was a guy named John Akers. He was actually a fraternity brother of a guy who's had a son that you might know of, and actually the wives of the two men were sorority sisters, and that son name was a guy you might have heard of. He's called Bill Gates. He's a technological legend. I mean, he's the guy that made the rule, we'll never need more than 640K. Okay, so times do change. And I genuinely believe we are at the end of the age of reason, and we're the beginning of the age of modeling and simulation. We need things that will tell us. Now, you still have to be smart. Where did the name of this company come from? Because I was an electrical engineer. I was used to finishing things on time. And I went over to software, and I did things like an electrical engineer would do. I wrote a functional spec. Where the heck am I going? I wrote a technical spec. How the heck am I going to get there? That took up about half the time. It's hard to get someplace if you don't know where you're going and you don't know how you're going to get there, which is what we do a lot today. You know? So we do need to change the paradigm. Paradigm is a word of value. And I look at No Magic, and I'm trying to build a tool here. When I worked at IBM Think Tank, I was the only non-PhD on PhD row. And I remember they put a guy next to me, a psychologist. Ugh, a psychologist. I'm an engineer. I want a real techie in the next office over. You know, I don't want a psychologist. Why did they give me a stupid psychologist? In all honesty, I learned more about doing displays from that person than any engineer ever taught me anything, except maybe Tom Lischek taught me a lot about his thoughts. More than Purdue did, actually. I told the rector and the dean and all those people that too. But you know, sometimes people you get surprising information.